Hello and welcome to Seven Story Publishing. My name is Lisa Jakovsky and I am here today with author Astrid Rose. How are you doing today, Astrid?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much.
Awesome. I'm so happy to be here with you. Can you tell us about your book and what inspired you to write it?
Absolutely. So, my book is called The Book Reader. It's a dark paranormal romance slash fantasy, dark fantasy. I think that's like the subgenre I think it comes under. Um, it is a story about love and connections and soulmates, fated mates. There's lots of magic in it, spells. If anyone out there remembers Charmed, the TV show,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got very Charmed vibes in it. Like I was obsessed with Cole from Charmed.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
a lot of us were.
so yeah, it's very Charmed vibe. There's a sacred book in there that only one person can read. So yeah, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster, which I'm excited for people to kind of get on board with it. And yeah, I've always loved writing from a young age. I've always had stories in my head, and it was a friend of mine who actually I sent a little snippet of this to, and she was like, "You have to finish this story." She was like, You can't leave me with only," I think I'd done 60,000 words at that point, and I was like, "Really?" So it was her fault.
But that's awesome. That's really encouraging
Mm.
for you as an author and writer too, right?
Absolutely. I was very I'm dyslexic, and from the very beginning, as much as I loved writing my stories, it was always quite difficult for me to get them on paper, and my imagination is crazy at times. And to hear her say to me that you need to do this, I was like, okay, okay, I'll do it.
That's amazing. And I love the fact that you're open about being dyslexic as
Mm.
well. Can you tell us about that, being an author, and how it affects you, how you've overcome anything to continue to live your dream?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things, I think, when I first of all started my author journey was that meeting various people that help people, encourage people, editors and beta readers and everything like that. When they found out I was dyslexic, it was very much a, oh, we're not sure that we can help you, or we're not sure that
Mhm.
that's something that we fully understand.
Oh,
And coming across that and realizing that I'm not the only one out there who is, I mean, I'm in my 40s. Shush, don't tell anybody.
trust me.
Thank you. And even now, coming across people who don't fully understand what dyslexia means, don't fully understand the impact it has on everyday life, not just spelling and grammar. I mean, I've got slight ADHD because of it. My brain is all over the place. I'm clumsy as anything. My mum always used to say when I was a kid that if there was a desert in, if there was a tree in the desert, I would definitely walk into it. Like, the clumsiness is unreal. And memory as well, like short-term memory, half the time I forget what someone said to me 5 minutes ago, which is why I have 1,000 notepads. So in everyday life the adjustment is there anyway, and then transferring that to my author life and my writing a book. I mean, I'm going through some edits right now, and there are sentences that are completely back to front. And I've got a lovely team. A very good friend of mine, EK Hunter, she's an author as well. She writes dark mafia romance, and she's offered, and her help during this process has been just, I can't even thank her enough for what she's done for me with checking grammar. And all the way through, when she's reading my book, she was like, you can't leave this as this is, in terms of like the storyline, in terms of when I've left things on a slight cliffhanger in the book. She's like, this is amazing. Like, what are you doing? And even though she's editing it for me as a peer editor, the fear I have that somebody's going to say to me that it was unreadable, or, you know, I've got grammar wrong, or there's a word that's spelt, is terrifying. But it's fine.
Exactly. You've got an amazing support system.
Mm,
And I think that, having any form of dyslexia or ADD, ADHD, you
mm.
haven't been diagnosed with ADD?
No, I haven't. No. Yeah. It was kind of, I think, when I was diagnosed with dyslexia in the 80s, or actually it was in the 90s, they didn't know anything. There was like, the teachers told my mum I was either stupid or lazy. That's what they told my
Oh
mum.
God.
Yeah, I was either stupid
Oh,
or lazy. And I went through my, so I'm obviously in my British accent, schooling wise, I went through my primary school, but I think here it's kindergarten. I do live currently on the East Coast of America. So I had to go to two schools in the end during kindergarten because I'd missed the first 3 years of school because I didn't understand what was going on. And that
wow.
that struggle now for some children is still very evident, and that this is why I'm being very vocal about dyslexia as an author and as an adult, because I don't feel like it's talked about enough, and everything else is.
I 100% agree with you. And that's
Mm,
why I asked about it, because we're seeing an uptick in ADD and ADHD.
mm,
And, I had somebody say to me a month ago, oh, they'll grow out of it. I'm like, that's not how that works.
mm,
So I love the fact that you talk about that. And I feel like your book is that pushback against those
mm.
teachers that called you stupid and
Oh,
lazy. And,
absolutely.
it's inspiring to everyone else out there who has the exact same dream, but a difficulty like this as well. Can you describe your writing process to us? How does that look and work? You were talking about things being kind of backwards too.
Yes. So with I don't know, again, dyslexia is different with everybody, but my mind works on pictures. So I'm very visual in my mind. So, and it happens with when I've got memory loss. So if somebody says to me, "Oh, have you seen my pen?" I'll have no idea where it is until that image flashes up in my head and I'm like, "Right, it's there." And that's the same with my book. So as I was writing it, I was getting these images in my head of like this beautiful spell book that's opening up and it's got gold like auras coming out of it. And my female character Aria, she's got like gold eyes. They're like amber gold eyes. So all of these images were going through my head, and I'll be washing the dishes, and then all of a sudden, and a lot of authors will say this, their characters have voices. And I know it sounds insane, but my characters generally speak to me in my head. And so I'll
Really?
be doing the dishes, and then a scene will come to my mind, and I'm like, right. And I write it down quickly because otherwise I will forget. So I write it down. And my book started off with various different scenes every now and again that I then sat and compiled it all into one. And once I started with it, it just kept flowing and it kept going and going and going. And then it's a very thick book.
That's okay. It sounds incredible. And this is
Yes.
super inspiring to anybody else out there who's
Mm.
struggling as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And it's nice because when I've been on my social media pages, and I've, as you say, I've been very vocal about my dyslexia, and I will continue to do this, not only for myself but for other people out there who are going through the same thing or anything else. And there was a lady on there, and she was like, my 11-year-old son feels so stupid and he feels like he can't do anything. So she said, I'm going to show him your post because you are being very loud about it. And I'm just like, tell him that it's okay if he struggles. That's fine. Dyslexic people, we think differently, and that's absolutely fine. And she said he wants to be a mechanic, and already at 11 he can fix his dad's car at 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so talent is different in everybody. So yeah.
I 100% agreed. And I really applaud you for speaking out about it because we do need more of this.
Mm.
Have you thought about writing a book about your journey or anything like that as well?
So I do. So I have got kind of thoughts about writing that, and I have done there's a charity anthology that I've done for mental health coming out at the end of the year called Just Breathe, and the character in that, her name's Robin. She suffers with dyslexia, and it was therapy for me when I wrote it because of all the bad stuff that has happened to me because of it. It came out wholly in that character. So yeah, if anyone reads this one, or they follow me and they see it for it, if you read that story, what she went through and her thoughts and her feelings are definitely reflected from myself in that.
That's incredible. We need more of that. That's why I was
Mm.
asking. I've been working with this organization. I'm going to send you their information after this too.
Okay.
But they're called She Rises, and they're an incredible organization that is all about women empowerment. And they have things like the anthology where you can pick and choose if you want to write a chapter in it. And they just had a book come out called A Mother's Daughter, all about being a mom and different individuals that are single moms. They have that second parent, maybe they don't, maybe they struggle with dyslexia or autism. They write about their journeys, and we need more of that.
That's amazing.
I think that's so beautiful and so amazing. And I'm definitely going to check out that anthology at the end of this year. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely send me that information because I would love to see all about it. Yes.
Oh my God, they're so amazing. But I'm super, super excited about this as well. And I love your book. Can you tell us about the characters? Were there any that were hard or easy to write?
Yeah, so Ariana J is my main female character. A she was easy to write because she was so happy and loving with life, but she has a very tragic kind of past and present and a little bit of a future going on in the book. So her story is, it was easy to write because I'm a very positive person. So I could reflect my positivity into her. And even though she had all of this going on in her life, she was still, yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I can battle through this. It's fine. We're going to cope and we're going to do it. And she was actually a joy. And a lot of the time she did have me laughing at some of the stuff that she was kind of doing and stuff during the book. And her mate, Galen, he's like, I mean, he's gorgeous. He is a dream god from the underworld. And I think for me, in stories, you have good and evil, and good battles evil. And me being a lover of lots of dark things, I love horror movies, I love scary stories, I read a lot of dark romances. You never really see what the bad guys are doing, like, in their spare time. Like, do they fall in love? Do they get married? And as my series goes on, because it is going to be a series, there are some questionable male characters in it, but I liked that side of things. So I liked the fact that even though they are morally grey, morally black, yes, they're going to fall in love. And yeah, they're going to have their own battles to fight and things like that. So nobody is good in my book, but they're the lighter side of bad and then darker side of bad. So it's kind of it's based in the underworld. A lot of it is. And the town that Ariana is from is called Darkville. So it's a made up world. So it's all kind of interlaced, and bad things walking along the streets. There's shifters, there's witches, warlocks, and things like that. Yeah.
That is so cool. That's so very interesting too. I love the fact that you want to look at kind of like those darker sides because, like
Mm,
you said, we don't see a lot of that. What
no.
has been your favorite thing about being an author?
My favorite thing is definitely the readers, and the support that the readers have for indie authors is so unwavering. I mean, I started my social media journey a couple of months ago, and even though my book isn't out until later on, until September, there are people already signing up for my arcs. There are people already sharing my posts. I'm getting messages from people that are like, oh, I can't wait to read your book. When is it out? And can I share this graphic for you? And that support alone makes everything worth it. They're just amazing.
That's incredible. That makes it even more exciting. And
Mm,
you said that this is going to be a series. How many books are there
yes.
going to be in this?
So there's probably, I think at the moment, there's definitely 5 strong books. There are some side characters that I know that people are going to be like, what's going on with that? Where is that going? So I possibly will have a few spin-offs and maybe some novellas about the side ones. But yeah.
That sounds really awesome. Oh my goodness. What has been the toughest thing about being an author yet?
I think it's the imposter syndrome.
Yep.
That hits so hard that it's just unreal. And I sit there and I go over it and I read parts of it and I'm just like, is somebody gonna like this? Like, is somebody gonna like it? Is somebody gonna read it? Am I gonna get somebody that says, oh, it's a load of rubbish, throw it away? Like, it's all of that stuff that you have to mentally shut it off. And it is very loud. Very loud.
100%. Leading up to my first book, I felt the exact same way.
Mm,
And, I think once you publish
mm,
and see the support, because you're getting amazing support now, and when you publish and people read it, I think you're going to see a really big difference in the imposter syndrome. Once you start like going to schools or doing talks and doing readings, the amount of support out there beyond once you publish, it's so much more than I could have ever expected.
yeah.
So that's what makes me super excited. You've got the support now, and I get nervous at every book I publish.
Yeah, I have been told by some author friends that it never goes away, and I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Even with reviews, when I see a book's got a new review, I always get nervous. I'm like, is this going to be the bad one? Because you never know,
No, exactly.
but with the support that you have, and especially about the positive outlook that you have, I think that your book's going to go over incredible. And no matter what happens, hopefully there's very, very few bad reviews, if any. Hopefully there's none. That's like best case scenario. But I think as long as you lean on your supporters, you're going to do incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
What does success as an author look like for you?
For me, I think just being able to continue to write. I moved, so I think 2 years now. My husband and I, we've been together for like 9 years. We were long distance for 8 of those years. No, 7 of those years. And so I upped my entire life from the UK and I moved to the US and got married to him. And I was on a new career path. And for me to be able to live my writer's dream, like I'd like a little office in the corner of our like living room, and just to be able to write full time would be just amazing. And that's kind of my kind of end goal.
I love that. How do you balance writing like that with work and life in general?
So luckily for me, I'm just working part-time at the minute. And so mornings, my husband, his alarm goes off annoyingly at 5:30 in the morning, and being a typical man, he shuts it off and it goes off about 16 times before he actually gets out of bed.
Hilarious.
Yep. So then I'm awake. So I'm awake, and he's also not very quiet. So that means that I'm also even more awake. So I get up in the morning and I probably write for about 3 hours in the morning before I start work. And then I'm lucky enough, I finish roughly about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And then I've got from 2 till he gets home at 6 to then continue to write. And in the evenings, if I need to sit and write, then I'll just go off somewhere and I'll write something, and he'll look over my shoulder at my very questionable Google history search.
It's all research. It's all good
It's
stuff.
all research, I promise.
That's hilarious. I absolutely love it. And I feel like that's really inspiring to people too.
Mm.
I also feel like the older we get, the busier we get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even, being an independent publisher, it's super hard to get a traditional publisher, and a lot of people hold on to that. So if you have a traditional publisher and you have like deadlines, like it's crazy. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
No, I can only imagine. Yes.
you know? Do you read the same genres that you write?
Yes, I do. I do. I think I've always it's funny actually from my start of my reading journey, reading things like Marian Keyes and I was reading a lot of Jane Austen, a lot of old classics, and now I'm reading like Harley Beck and like dark kind of Sophie Dyer mafia reads and things like that. So, and I love paranormal books as well. So I'm always watching paranormal shows and I'm always reading about werewolves and shifters and vampires and all kinds of fairies and stuff.
I love it. Does that stuff inspire you for your books as well?
It does. Yeah, it does. I think in my head, I try not to like I cannot write and read at the same time. So when I'm writing, I can't get into another book. So I've got a TBR longer than I don't know everything. That's the only way I can describe it. It is infinity long, my TBR list. So I do pause when I'm writing just so that I can make sure that there's no kind of cross, story reflecting in my writing. But I get lost in these worlds in my head. And again, with my dyslexia, when I'm reading, those images are flashing in my head like movie screens. And it's like it gets me really excited about hoping to bring that to somebody else while they're reading my book as well. So yeah, I do enjoy reading.
I love that. What is one piece of advice you would give an aspiring author, especially one that also has dyslexia?
Ignore what everybody says. You can do it. If somebody says that you can't, you absolutely 1,000% can do it. Just sit down and write and keep going with it, and always make sure that when you're looking for an editor, a peer editor, I mean, I didn't even know at the beginning of my journey that there was a thing called a peer editor, and just make sure that you do your research into who is looking at your books and who is helping you, to make sure that they understand fully what it is that they're going to be looking at, and then just go for it. And if somebody says no, stamp reject, move on and find somebody else, but do not let it stop you, because imagination, and especially if somebody is dyslexia like I'm dyslexic, the imagination in there is just insane. It has no bounds.
I completely agree. And I love the fact that you bring that up, because I feel like when we talk about dyslexia, we just focus on the reading part. There's the three different kinds: math, reading, and writing. And we just kind of focus on that specific part. But nobody talks about the imagination part,
No.
And I describe all these things as just different ways to learn that just need to be embraced. So
Exactly.
I love the fact that you bring up the imagination part. And I think that's amazing advice to somebody as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for me, like, imagination and creativity has always been my strong point. And they do say that, with people that are dyslexic, there's always something that they are absolutely amazing at, whether it be acting, singing, like something like that. We're all very creative. And I actually read somewhere in my research that people with dyslexia, they're not stupid. They actually have average or above IQs. It's just how we process things. So, I can read music I can read music better than I can read a book. So if somebody hands me a sheet of music, I can instantly read all of the notes, but give me an essay to read, I struggle.
Wow, I love that you bring that up, and that distinction too, because I feel like, especially in the school system and how they train teachers, which is no fault of the teachers, but they train the teachers to teach the kids one way.
Yes.
And there's not one way, because if you can read music like that, why don't we take the things that we're putting into essays and put
Mm,
it in a different way, like a form of
exactly.
music?
Yeah, exactly that. It would be so much, yeah, it would be so much easier. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's about, I mean, bringing up my childhood, but my childhood with learning my times tables, my mathematics and things, my mum made me sing them into a tape and paired it with the music. And then I passed all of my exams because my mum made me do that. I wouldn't have done it if she hadn't done. So my mum, love my mum for that, for all that she
You
did.
know, like, she's amazing. She's
Mm,
absolutely inspiring, because
mm,
that's what we need more of.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Find what works and then run with it. That's my advice as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I 100% agree with you. And I think that's so ridiculously inspiring, because we're so very rigid in
Yes,
certain things. And especially with what's going on in the world right now, we need to really come together and keep talking
absolutely.
about this and keep
Yeah,
pushing it.
yeah.
We have about 4 more minutes. Do you want to tell us about your launch in September, where we can find you, where we can sign up to be an ARC reader, anything else that you want to tell us?
Thank you. So my launch is going to be the release date is the 29th of September. My editor, bless her, she is like, we may have it early. So I wanted it a bit earlier than the 29th. So we hopefully when she gets it, she'll be like, yes, it can be earlier. But my Instagram is I think it's at author lower score Astrid Rose. I have a link tree in my bio, so everything is in there. I've got my ARC signups in there. I will be launching my I'm making a little miniature hype team, which will have little extra rewards for people that are joining it. There'll be physical ARCs, there'll be digital ARCs. I have sneak peeks of like artwork, and basically you're going to be in a chat with me and we're going to be the bestest of friends, and you're going to get all of my sneak peeks.
That is so cool. What are you most excited for with this?
With the launch,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just, you know what, I'm excited to give it to I'm excited for people to have it in their hands and for them to read it. I'm excited to hear back the reviews of what people think, and because this story has been a long time coming, it's I'm yeah, I'm excited to get it out there. And I feel like again, my story is very much about struggles and about no matter what you go through, there's always a way to make it better. There's always a way at the end to see the light, and it will happen for you. You just have to push through sometimes. And that's, I'm hoping that when people read it, they get that from my story, that we will win.
I agree completely. You are so totally amazing. You do not let dyslexia define you. And I
Mm,
keep saying dyslexia instead of mental health disorders. I don't
mm,
like that label. We need to
mm,
talk about it for what it is. And you
exactly.
embrace it, and encourage it, which I think is so amazing. I am so
Mhm.
ridiculously excited. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Anything else about where we can go to find your arcs, find different little sneak peeks and things?
Yeah, so at the minute, mostly I'm on Instagram. That's my kind of playground at the minute. I've got a Facebook reader group called Astrid Rose's Little Demons, which is on Facebook. So yeah, I'm naming everybody demons or like something to do with it. Shifters, demons, it'll be something like that. So I have a little Facebook group. I'm currently on TikTok as well. But as I said, everything is literally all in my link tree in my Instagram page. So yeah, but I post about 3 times a week on there, lots of teasers, sneak peeks and stuff. So yeah.
That
Mhm.
is so ridiculously cool. I can't wait to go and follow you and see all
Oh,
this.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, author Astrid Rose. You are incredible, and I wish you all the best with your
Amazing.
first book. I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. It's my kind of
Thank
genre.
you.
Kiddo.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you so much, author Astrid Rose. I am Lisa Jakowski for 7 Story Publishing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.